Hello coaster lovers. So Dollywood is a great place to take a vacation at. It has so much charm and it feels homey. And to complement the vibe around the park, it features some great rides as well. But I'm not here to talk about Lightning Rod. If you want my opinion on that ride, check out the card above for more in-depth thoughts. But in this video, I'm going to be giving out my in-depth thoughts about the second best coaster at that park, and it's with Thunderhead, aka the wildest ride in the woods. And this wooden coaster is just stellar. So let's jump into this review with the history of Thunderhead. So Thunderhead was announced way back in June of 2003. The construction began later and the coaster officially opened to the public on April 3rd, 2004. A cool thing about Thunderhead is that it was named after Thunderhead Mountain located in the Smoky Mountains, but nothing major has happened to the coaster since opening. But if you know more than I do, leave a comment. Now let's go into the presentation for the coaster. So you walk up the windy pathway up to Timber Canyon and you are greeted with the ride's entrance, and then you wait in the line. But for me, it was dead. Nobody was there. It was nearly a walk-on all day. Then after all that waiting, you can see that Thunderhead features this flyby element in the station, but we will talk about that later. And you do get assigned a row, but if you ask nicely to the row assigner, they will accept your offer. So you enter the train, pull down your lap bar and dispatch, and that will lead us into the ride experience. So you go through a little bit of straight track and maneuver a 270-degree helix. The helix has okay laterals. Then you climb up your 100-foot lift hill, and then you crest the top and get an amazing view of Wildwood Grove. Then you slowly swoop down to the right, and the laterals and airtime here are amazing. Then you bank to the right and snap to the left, and then back to the right with a turnaround. It's a really fun transition there. Then you dive down to the right and straighten out, and then turn left and gradually rise up into a half airtime hill, if that makes sense. Then you keep turning left and then gradually rise up and then dramatically turn and dive to the right. The laterals here are really good. And for the rest of the layout, then you soar over an airtime hill, then another turnaround, and then you fly through the station. It's really fun when you look at all the people waiting in line while you're on the coaster. Then you turn to the left and rise up, and then you switch directions again into an off-axis airtime hill. You get great floater here, and then you straighten out with an airtime hill and bank to the left and snap into another turnaround, and then you straighten out and go over more airtime hills and bank turns, and that will lead you into the brakes. And that concludes your 3,230-foot long ride in the woods. Now I'm going to give my thoughts on the layout. The top speed of Thunderhead is 54 miles per hour, but when I rode it, it felt way faster than that. I think it was because during my visit, it was pouring, so it was flying throughout the layout, and that's the reason why it's placed so high on my top 10. But as for the layout, it's really good. The quick S-bends come out of nowhere, and since the trains feel like a couch, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. The cushions really absorb some of the roughness from the wheel assembly, but overall, it's a top tier layout. But it was really strange experiencing a Twister GCI, because prior to Thunderhead, Mystic Timbers was the only GCI that I rode, and that's an out and back layout, but it was unique and new to me. Now I'm going to give out my full thoughts of Thunderhead, and I am a humongous fan of this coaster. I think it's my favorite wooden coaster I've ridden, but I'm not counting Lightning Rod as a wooden coaster. And yes, I'd take this over Mystic Timbers any day. Mystic is still great, don't get me wrong, but Thunderhead is on a whole nother level. It's also probably the smoothest wooden coaster I've done as well, and it's fast paced, the layout winds over itself. It's a fantastic time on this coaster. This is probably the second biggest surprise of my Dollywood trip in March of 2023, right behind Wild Eagle. That coaster blew my expectations through the roof. But now to cap off this review of Thunderhead, it's with the final score. So for the final score for Thunderhead, I'm giving it a 9.75. I know that's a bit specific, but this is the high score I can give it. But this coaster is so much fun. Only if it rains during your visit. If it's dry, it's not going to be as good. But when it rains and it's open, just try your best to get on the coaster before the rain stops. And I also know that it feels like little needles poking your face, but you can cover your face during the ride experience, which makes it even more fun. I'm happy that I got 3 rides on this. I expected 2, or even 1 single ride, but 3 is more than I was expecting. And I don't have any bad things to say, but Thunderhead isn't as good as Diamondback. That coaster is a little bit better, and it's placed 1 spot higher than Thunderhead in my top 10, but every coaster in the top 10 is an impeccable experience, and Thunderhead is no different. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Thunderhead? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And our goal for this year is to hit 700 subscribers by next year, and it would actually make my day if you subscribe. And you can check out my Gmail if you want to collaborate with me, but there are a few technicalities. But there will be a brand new video coming soon in the next 5 days, so make sure to keep that adrenaline pumping, and thanks for watching.